Hey guys, it's Charlie, and today I have my little guest with me, who apparently has a frozen face. Say hi, Frankie.
Hi.
And today we're starting a new book, Nancy Drew and the Clue Crew. Number 4, The Cinderella Ballet Mystery. Let's start with Chapter 1, called The Cinderella Ballet. Let's start reading. Nancy Drew slipped on her pink ballet shoes. "Let's stretch," she said to her friends George Fane and Bess Marvin. George nodded. "Last one to the beret is a rotten egg." "Hey, not fair. You're closest to the beret," Bess cried out. The 3 friends hurried to the long wooden barn in front of the mirrored wall. Running was against the rules at Tim McGear's dance studio, so they walked really fast instead. The 3 girls had been taking lessons at Mr. McGear's studio since the beginning of the school year. They were in the middle of rehearsing for a full-length ballet of Cinderella. Opening night was on Saturday, only 5 days away. Nancy got to the beret first, then Bess, then George. I wonder who's the rotten egg," Bess joked. George made a face. "Ha ha." Nancy put her foot up to the beret with her toes pointed. She held on to the beret for balance. Then she curved her arm over her head and leaned her body toward the right foot. George and Bess did the same. Nancy glanced at the wall clock. It was 5 minutes before 4. Almost time for the rehearsal to begin, she thought. The studio was filled with students who were busily putting on their ballet slippers or stretching. Nancy noticed that Mr. McGear was off in the corner talking on his silver cell phone. His eyes were knit tightly together, and his mouth was pursed in a deep frown. Nancy thought that he looked upset. She wondered who he was talking to. "Hey, Nancy Drew, I have a mystery for you," someone said. Nancy glanced over her shoulder. Deidre Shannon was standing there. Deidre's best friend, Madison Foley, was standing next to her. They were dressed in identical purple leotards with matching superstar shorts, pink tights, and pink leg warmers. "It's the mystery of the weird ballet outfit," Deidre continued. "Did aliens come and dress George Fane in the middle of the night? Curious minds want to know." George was wearing a soccer t-shirt and shorts instead of a fancy leotard combo like Deidre. Mrs. McGear didn't have strict rules about what to wear for rehearsals. "You're so hilarious, Deidre," George said. "Not." Deidre cracked up. She looked over at Madison, who was searching through her dance bag for something, and poked her with an elbow. "What? Oh!" Madison started cracking up too. Madison always did whatever Deidre told her to do. Nancy rolled her eyes and resumed stretching. She and her friends were used to getting all kinds of attention, even teasing about the Clue Crew. The Clue Crew was Nancy, Bess, and George's mystery-solving club. Their headquarters were located in Nancy's room. They stored their clues in one of Nancy's desk drawers. George kept track of their cases on Nancy's computer. Just then, a boy named Gregory Alfredou came up to the girls. He was wearing a black shirt with the pants Dancing Fool on it, black sweatpants, and black ballet shoes. He gave a friendly wave. "Hi," Gregory said. "My mom made some chocolate chip cookies. Do you want one?" He reached into his dance bag and pulled out a plastic container. "Yum, thanks." Bess plucked a cookie out of the container and bit into it. She began coughing and gagging. "Yuck, what is this?" Gregory burst out into laughter. "I got you," he coughed. "Those cookies are totally fake. They're from my sister's toy kitchen." Deidre took her digital camera out of her dance bag and snapped a picture. "I got you too, Bess," she giggled. She held out the tiny screen on her camera for everyone to see. She had managed to get a picture of Bess's grossed out expression and the fake cookie hanging out of her mouth. Nancy shook her head at Gregory. He always seemed to be playing practical jokes. Once he put fake worms in George's water bottle. Another time he put ice cubes in Madison's ballet slippers. Bess handed the cookie back to Gregory. You can have this back, she said huffily. She turned to Deidre. And you can delete that picture. No way, Deidre said with a grin. I might even post it on my website. Deidre had her own website called Dishing with Deidre. Her father had helped her set it up. Don't you dare, Bess cried out. Mrs. McGirr clapped his hands. Girls and boys, I want everyone on the floor, now. Nancy and her friends hurried over to the middle of the floor and sat with their legs crossed. Deidre, Madison, and Gregory sat down nearby. The other students in the class included Nadine Nardo and Audrea Wu from River Heights Elementary School. There were also about a dozen kids who went to other schools. In Cinderella, Gregory played the part of the prince. Deidre and Madison were the wicked stepsisters. George was the wicked stepmother. Bess was the fairy godmother. Nancy, Nadine, and Andrea were mice who magically turned into Cinderella's coach drivers. They were also dancers and attendants at the prince's ball, along with some other kids. The role of Cinderella was played by a girl named Autumn Gooden. Nancy glanced around. Autumn wasn't here yet. It wasn't like her to be late for class. Scruffy, Mrs. McGirr's golden retriever, came up to Gregory and gave him a kiss. For some reason, Scruffy loved to give Gregory wet, sloppy dog kisses. Nancy wondered if it was because Gregory often fed the dog cookies, real cookies, when Mr. McGirr wasn't looking. Mr. McGirr sat down on a special blue director's chair in front of the studio. Hello, class, he began. Hello, Mr. McGirr, the class replied in unison. Mr. McGirr had light brown hair and a slender, serious face. He used to be a professional ballet dancer. Nancy, George, and Bess had seen him in a production of The Nutcracker last year in Chicago. Nancy loved that the special holiday ballet, especially the second act, which was set entirely in the land of sweets. The stage had been filled with giant-sized candies, cakes, and other goodies. Too bad those sweets were fake. I have some good news and some bad news, Mrs. McGirr began. Nancy, George, and Bess exchanged glances. I wonder what the bad news is. Nancy wondered. The good news is that all the costumes are now ready, thanks to Miss Zelda's hard work, Mr. McGirr said. He smiled at Miss Zelda, who was standing in the corner. Miss Zelda was the costume manager. She nodded and waved. What's the bad news? Deidre asked. Mr. McGirr's smile faded. I just got a call from Autumn's mom, he said. Autumn tripped on the stairs this morning and sprained her ankle. Fortunately, nothing's broken, so she's going to be fine in a couple weeks. Unfortunately, she will not be able to dance the part of Cinderella. Nancy gasped. Poor Autumn. She had been practicing so hard for a wonderful starring role. Now she wouldn't be able to be in the ballet at all. So who's going to be the new Cinderella? A girl named Melanie asked him. Mr. McGirr turned to Andrea, who was sitting in the back row. Well, it only makes sense that Andrea will be the new Cinderella since she's the understudy, he replied. Nancy remembered that an understudy was someone who learned a starring role in case he or she might have to substitute at the last minute. Yay, Andrea squealed happily. I feel really bad for Autumn, but I'm really glad I get to be Cinderella, and I already know all the dances. A boy named Rich, who was sitting next to Andrea, gave her a high five. Other kids congratulated too. Just then, a pink ballet slipper came flying through the air. It hit the mirrored wall and fell to the ground. Nancy recognized Nadine's shoe. That's not fair, Nadine cried out. Okay guys, that's it. Hope you enjoyed it. Chapter 2 is called Slippery Slippers. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and click the bell. Keep reading, keep dreaming. See you next video. Bye. Say bye.
Bye.